blog. Today I'm going to just have a quick second play at this. I'm going to try and play it quickly because I want to go to sleep. Oh. I get the feeling that being constantly tired and yawning is like becoming a signature theme. One of my sort of clients, he's constantly yawning, and I wonder whether he's mimicking me. He doesn't even know who I am, but kind of bit in a weird way. But yeah, so I'm going to keep it quick. But the reason I'm doing this specifically is because what I want to do is I want to replay it as these ones, the Hadis, with keeping them stacked up. So that is my initial consideration. Now, I think regarding all the other stuff, it's going to be business as usual. So I'm going to do artillery strikes here. That was nice. No, it wasn't. Oh, it was okay. That wasn't. Okay. Drone strikes. No effect. They are in a 4, I guess. Fortified position. 1.3, 1.35. I think it's like a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1. Got them a DR. Look at that. We didn't get that last time. Well, that's good. And that's all I can do this turn. So, moving swiftly on. Da-dum. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to stack up. I'm trying to keep us. So, we lost automatically there straight away, but we've got a stack of 4. So, what we can do in the first instance is he's stuck on his own there. Now that creates us a strong line there. We don't really have the strong line here, but we're moving back there anyway. I'll leave all this other stuff here. Now these units are essentially looking to join up with pairs. So we've got 2 spare infantry units in there. Right, so we can put one of those there. That gives us a 5. Bring this one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we've got a bit of time, so we'll leave him there. Where's the other one? Oh no, he's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Safe. He's the only one that's sort of out on a limb at the moment, but we got artillery, so bring it down on these guys. And this artillery, can we bring it on these guys? Yes. Okay. Right, so well, we might as well do what we can here. There isn't much point in stacking up any higher. We're going to get 5 to 1. So that was that unit eliminated. That's how vulnerable they are. Do they have any more movement? No. So what have we got under there? 6 and 5. Now what I can't really do is experiment. I can't remember if it's 5 or less, or 5 or more, 5 or equal to. If they got 5, I think they have to be less than 5. But I don't want to sort of just test it, because if I do these two, they'll get potentially 10 versus 5, which is 2 to 1. If they fail that, they'll be at 1 to 5, which will be 1 to 4. So what can we do? And if we come across too eagerly, we will, let's move these here just to get them done, we'll be subject to counterattacks. So we're going to have to start off with some artillery if we can on this stack here. We can't reach them. This stack, no, the artillery is out of range. I think we can move one. So I could stack up 4 in there. This is about as good as it's going to get in that sense. With these two here, And everything else has to join the queue in the massive earthworks slalom. So they're seriously stymied by this tactical variation that I've placed on things. But we do have drones. No effect, no effect, no effect. Okay, well all they have to do is sit there and they'll recover. But can they afford to sit there? Well, we'll find out. That's the end of their turn. I'm not going to attack, because I definitely have a 5. Right, so what do they want to do? Well, to be quite honest, I think I'm going to move them. There's no point if I can recover next turn. We lost one unit to the north there, which is frustrating, but not very frustrating. Let's move these out. I don't like moving things out, but we've got small units in there to protect. So we're going to have to move at the rate of the infantry, which is again a bit frustrating, but I'm sure I can survive. Do we actually even want to advance? Possibly, because we want to possibly look for opportunities whilst they're still staggering across their earthworks, as opposed to pulling back and then letting them come to us in order. Because we could. What I'm going to do here is push those there. I'm going to leave those guys there. I'm going to bring these engineers out here. These engineers send one up this way. 2, 3, 4. So I can possibly attack, you see, that's what I'm thinking, but I don't think I want to at this stage. I'm going to start pulling back. This little engineer guy probably needs, otherwise they're going to come through here. We can put him there. That will help. Air defense unit, maybe we should bring him further forward. We'll leave everything else stationary. artillery wise, we're not doing any attacks. Those let's try blowing them up. Right, so that's that. So now I think this refined strategy is going to pay off. So we've got a line there. Now the issue is, can they spot opportunities? Now they've got two additional dimensions to their potential opportunities, mainly what they can do with their artillery and their drones. So for example, this stack here is a 5, but he's slightly wounded. So if we focus on artillery, that was nice, and that was nice. 5, 4, 2. I'm not going to use my drones on them. I'm going to try and orchestrate an attack, and I'm going to assume, and I'm going to look carefully at whether or not I get the odds, because they're 5 by face value, but they're clearly going to be less than 5. I mean, if this one is at 2, so he's going to be worth a sort of 0.73. He's going to be worth 1, so it's 1.7. He's going to be worth about 1, so it's going to be worth 2.8 in total. They're going to be worth. So if I get 2 of these against that, that'd be 4. So if I do this, this should give me a 10, like a 7 to 1, or a 1 to 1. Yep, because they were on a 3. I have the 22. Interesting. And 1 was eliminated. Yep. So maybe it would have been better to pull back, because that was just one opportunity. And what can we do against this with the drones? One, 1.8. Of course, another strategy would be to just send everyone back to Maas base, so that there was massive stacks in there, and then they would never get through. But they would just bombard it with artillery, presumably. This river is interesting, actually, because it's not on the other Maas maps. Right. let's do this. Just keep a strike force there. Yeah, that's as far as they can go. So what do we want to do here? I'm just trying to use superior mobility to throw a spanner in the works, really. I'm not going to play much longer. I think I've proved my point, but I'm still not satisfied that it's a winning strategy. We lost that stack there, so I did sort of assume that the stacks would be a little more invincible, but clearly not. But we've got okay. I'll leave it. Actually, I quite fancy trying to destroy that. Yep, and that's exactly what I did. Right, so let's have a little twiddle with the best part of the game. Colours. Let's use this. I can never remember what good colours are. It's a bit misleading because these look so much like them, but we have the stupidest colour in the world. Let's use red. So we've now advanced like that by pushing forward there and there, there and there. So I think that's going to affect things because obviously we can then actually, not unrealistically do all sorts of things behind enemy lines. There are quite a few vulnerable units there now. It doesn't necessarily have the flexibility to be able to pull back. And what it does mean, to some extent, is that he's going to have to this is really quite interesting, to be quite honest. I'll explain why in a bit. But if he has to fall back, he's not really going to be able to actually carry out a forward assault. So he's not going to be able to, let's use blue, he's not going to be able to go this way and attack that, or that, or that. But the interesting thing I just sort of pointed, this just sort of struck me, was if you look at the other games, what was happening at the Maas assault, they did actually do this pincher movement. They did actually come around somehow and come this way and somehow come this way. That's how they did it. I mean, you can see that strategy in the other Maas game, because the other Maas game is the pincher movement, and I'm actually subconsciously doing that pincher movement there. So that's strange. So whose turn is it? Oh, God. Okay, I figured out whose turn it is. That's a good start. But can we attack them? You see, that's the difference. I mean, are these vulnerable? I mean, can we do some damage against that? I mean, what have they got in there? 1.75, 4.8. I mean, they might have thought they were being clever, but let's use our artillery on here. All of it. Let's see what we can do against this one stack. We've routed one of them. They're not as clever as they think they are. Look at that. They're not as clever as they think they are. But you see, what we can do now is attack it. And we win 2-1. This might be a 1-1 with a bit of luck. Oh, I tend to hold my breath and do all sorts of silly things when I want some luck to happen, and sometimes I wonder whether there's some foundation in that. So we've managed to push them back, but can we actually even do more? I'd like to damage this strike force. Oh, yes. Oh, that is looking good. I mean, when I say good, What I mean is, it's looking interesting. I'll explain. Because the line now looks like that. Which is not as clever as I thought it was. Because we've pushed back this way and we're now looking quite strong, and we're sort of pushed this way down, leaving them with really only a slight opportunity to whisk through this way. But this unit is now stacked up, so he's a hard hit, but this one's weak, but I don't think they can get there. How far did they get before? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, they're weak. I don't think they can. Even if they can get there, they can only get there with 2 units, and they're damaged. So this is why I'm saying it's interesting, because it's ebbed and flowed in a sense that was not necessarily predictable, sending the game both ways to some extent. I love this drawing tool. I think it really, I'm looking at it and I'm sort of thinking, I wonder how clever that looks. Because I once saw, it's one of the mysteries of sketching. Because if you do a sketch, they often look really good. When you sort of go and finish them off with sort of inks and colours and paints, they tend to look less good. Sketches will always look good. It's more sketchy stuff you put in, the better they look. And stuff is squidgy lines, and it looks really interesting. It's, you know, even like a football game, American football game, where they do all the lines and things. It just looks, suddenly becomes quite clever. But you don't actually have to be clever to put all the lines and things in, because you there's a suspension of disbelief in that. You assume that the person is being clever. You probably draw things that are completely stupid. You know, for example, if we do a new river that flew from here, you might not know. Okay. It's the Houthi turn, so we don't want to be doing that. Right, so I'm going to do one more because I want to go to sleep. I've got to sleep, otherwise I'll never wake up. What are the options? The artillery is too far away. We don't want to put drones against mechanised. These are fairly beaten now. I mean, they're fresh. I think this stack is pretty much the only option that we've got, because if we can beat them down on volume, we can take the quality out, possibly by inundating it with volume from our side. Two 1.6, 1.62. it'll probably only be a 1-to-1. But they have been damaged, and my brain's not big enough to think about whether they'll be under 5, but I did think about it, and I don't think they will. Because even if they were I don't know, even if they were 0.8 down, 0.2 down, so they're 1.8, that would be 3, 5.4. Let's just see. Yeah, so we got a big battle. That was interesting. That was so interesting that I'm going to do another turn. Right, so this is interesting. I'm not sure that I would make much of a sports commentator. I keep saying the same thing again and again. It's interesting because we've got the prospect for, we've got very considerable prospect of withdrawing or going full into the assault. We could do a Waterloo here. I mean, if we can break the main core of their army, because they don't have anything elsewhere. I mean, this is everything all in one place. I mean, for example, we can get the artillery down on here. That's a 4. That's a 3. Let's just see what we can do here. We only seem to be hitting one of them. That was disappointing, but that was too disappointing actually. Because I don't really now want to, I thought I might be able to have a real chance at doing some damage, but I mean, they're not particularly damaged, so they're going to be pretty much a 4. So I think I might have to use the opportunity in that retreat to forgotten about him. Oh, messed up. Okay, so that gives us what we've done there. You see, is we've compromised and drawn back on our line to some extent, trying to make things hard for them to advance into. If that artillery had been a little more effective here, I would have felt confident to try and destroy all these stacks, but I think that was a bit of... It's one of those things I think, oh, that looks good, but it's not possible. I think I underestimated their overall strength, so let's see what the Houthis think of that. Right, so they've got, to some extent, the advantage of this unit being in the right place, but what can they attack? They could go for that, but they would actually be quite high. That could be a sneak attack on that position. Can we get anything with this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Possibly get that. No. So we'll have to move forward. We'll be able to get them next turn, and what we'll do this turn is move the ditches. But there's not really much use for that now. It's not as though we've got anything left to come over. Let's see if we can do this. Alright, drones. That's right, drones, not artillery. Okay. Okay, I should be able to do something with him after. Is it worth going for the full surround? I think it is. It's a gamble. But if we win, plus it gives us an extra 20%. That was not good. This is a real crap shot. But if we can get a DR, perhaps if I hold my breath for long enough. Oh, that's two failed massive possibilities. You see how that could have gone? We have rolled a 1 before. It's not impossible to roll a 1. Could have rolled a 1 there and been laughing to the bank. We could have rolled something reasonable there. This was like one of those situations where it could have gone the other way. And I think you've got to wonder whether or not whether or not gambling in war is actually worth it. Not so much that it's worth it as in you shouldn't do it, but to what extent do you push the concept of the gamble? You know, I mean, how many military commanders have made a gamble? That was a gamble. You know, it was a big one, but if it had worked, you know, and because I sort of felt that if I left them stacked there, then they were going to lose their edge, but they weren't coming forward. But they could have used their artillery. We still got this advantage here. We had an advantage, and I think we've maybe possibly lost it. I'm not going to go any further than that. Let's just... Oops. Definitely interesting. Okay, I'll speak later. Cheerio.